they give you the information down here, but they're kind of being difficult, which I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. 56, Franklin Stowe, 25, 36, so 20 there for that. And then normally you fill in this last number, and
Yeah.
then you have to fill in the big box here,
Mhm.
but they don't do that, which can't do anything about it. So 125 people is the total amount, and they said that 70 did not own a carriage odometer. Okay, so how are we going to interpret that? So the not carriage odometer is everything outside of these three,
Yeah.
or this, I guess, for 1, 2, 3, 4, everything outside of here. So that's 19, 21, that's 40, 60. So there's 10. There's 10 here is how they came up with that number.
Mhm.
Again, normally you find this number in here and then you subtract it from the total to get 10,
Yeah.
but they're doing that, they're flipping that. So in reverse here, since 125 people are in the whole box here, you have to add all of these up and subtract it from 125. So we kind of did that 40, 60, 70, 100, and 21. So it looks like there's 14. That seems like a mistake. 40, 60, 70. Yeah, 14. Okay. All right. Now, once you have this, they can ask you almost any number of questions. Like the ones they've given you are only a partial list. Um, they
Yeah.
can ask you anything from like FS or L, for example, FS or L. So that's anything in the two circles combined.
Yeah.
They can ask you, like they do here, how many owned exactly two of the inventions. Two means uh overlap, but like two is right here,
Mhm.
21, 11, and 26. Because the 4 doesn't count because that's all three. The 19 is just one. They can ask you the none. They really could ask you any sort of combination here of these things. Let me see if they got any others. Not like how many did not own a Franklin stove? And that would be 19, 26, 14, and 10.
Mhm.
You know, not a Franklin stove and not a lightning rod, which would be the 14 and the 10. There's a
Mhm.
and so it's kind of a hassle, but you really almost want to redraw them and shade the one that it's suggesting.
Yeah.
And that will help you, like if you shade it and you're like, all right, it's not that, it's not that, oh, it's not that, okay, so it's just that and it's just that, like that will help you to answer these questions.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you have to get this right. Spend most of your time getting this right.
Yeah.
I see later on here that they give you some if P then Q's. Um,
Mhm.
did you have to do any sort of um, inverse, converse, contrapositive, proving these
Um,
things?
no, we didn't have to do that. Just the predicate and the.
Right. I don't remember what yeah, it's predicate and something else. But these are the there's like one thing to remember here, which is the true false, which I guess they don't show you in that. Um, not true, not true. Okay. So I'm just looking through your notes here. Anything
Mhm.
on that you feel like is unclear?
Um, can we just go over the symbols? Like is it the U, the union symbol?
Yes. Yep.
So that
Good.
means and.
Yes. So union. Yep. Good question here. So union. You is the union. It means or. So it
Mhm.
means one true, the other is true, or both true. So in
Okay.
terms of your overlap, it's everything there.
Okay.
Okay. The other one looks like an A. It's called intersect, and it means and they have to both be true.
Okay.
And that's only the overlap. Think of it as the overlap only. Those are the only set operators. I mean, you describe sets with these curly braces, and then you put in your elements,
Mhm.
and then there, this can go on for as long as you need it to. This means both of these mean empty set or
Mhm.
no, nothing, void,
Yeah.
things like that. Um,
Mhm.
any questions on that?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay, so where I was going with the conditionals is there's this truth table, which it doesn't look like you're doing, but there's only one case that I think is really sorry, that's not right. Forget that for a second. So there's these P, Q, and then if P then Q, like this. And so
Mhm.
true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. And the only one that is not true is this is the only one to be on the lookout right here.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's a true false scenario, like all the rest, because it's weird, because you could be anything that even makes sense. Like if I eat ice cream, I will get an A. So this is your P, this is your Q. Right. So the only time it's false is when the first part is true and the second part is false.
Yeah.
And they don't have to necessarily make sense. They're just problems that you see in there. Now the premise stuff is the like induction, deduction things.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't actually seen the drawings this way where they sort of nest the circles, but that actually is a really good way of doing it.
Oh, yeah, that was helpful.
If you do that, it will help. They're trying to avoid doing truth tables clearly, like 'cause that's a different course altogether, but you have to you can't necessarily like use your own sort of opinion on this. You have to follow the logic here,
Right.
which may not, it's not necessarily like human logic, it's the computer logic.
Yeah.
Because obviously this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap my head around, but
Yes,
even though it doesn't make sense, it could still be right, and
that,
even if it does make sense, it could be wrong, but
yes, and
if
that's
I
what
just use the circles and the truth table, I will be
yes.
fine.
And the circles are really good here. I really like that for these examples. So okay, so let's move on to week. That was week 2. Let me look at week 1 real quick.
Okay.
Um, so we've got set, and we've already talked about a set. Sets contain elements, subsets. So sometimes you get a really basic thing here. Let me actually, I had something up that it's pretty straightforward. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick on sets with another student. Of course, it's not there. There it is. Okay, so here's something on sample space and events we could look at real quick. So it says here for any given day, the weather could be either sunny, cloudy, rainy, or snowy. And you're interested in predicting the weather over the weekend for a Saturday and a Sunday. What is the sample space for your weekend weather prediction? So for example, it's like, well, what's the best case? What if they're sunny on Saturday, sunny on Sunday? That's a pretty
Mhm.
good scenario. But it could be SC, right? Sunny then cloudy. Could be sunny then rainy. Could be sunny then snowy. I'll use a different letter for that. Okay. And then this continues. So your sample space is all the possibilities for the weekend.
Mhm.
All right. And I think you understand that, or that's all clear. Is that right?
Yeah. I got it.
Okay. Now what you're doing here, what you kind of are in week one is what's called set algebra. And this is a very simplistic example. It doesn't look like you're doing anything crazy, but they always give you, this is kind of a test question. They always give you the set, like, you can almost think of it as like your population, but it's like your universe, like whatever the total is. And they're saying, oh, by the way, A comes from S. Okay. So in your notes, A is a subset of S because
Yeah.
everything that's in A is in S. Everything in B is in S. Okay.
Mhm.
And then they can ask you for what you were just asking about, like, what is the intersection between A and B? What is in both?
A and B.
Yes. What is in
One.
both A? Just, it looks like just one. Yeah. And then the or, to do the or, it's a little more complicated, but you're basically like, it's either got to be in one or the other or both. So you're just going to sort of start in order, like, well, okay, one's in both, two's in A, three's in B, four's in A, five's in B, six is in A.
Mhm.
Okay. And then AC complement, really, it's really, think of it like that, complement. It means everything not in A.
Oh.
So A includes 1, 2, 4, and 6. A complement, well, here's what it includes. It includes 5 because 5 is in the universe that you have. Like, this is
Mhm.
everything. You can't add things like 5.5. No, it's like 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10, like that.
What about 3?
And 3.
Okay.
See, see, I had 3 all along. No. Yes. So anything that's not in A. And so,
Okay.
like what would B complement be? Could you just tell me that out loud?
Yeah, anything that's not in B.
Yeah, so like 2, 4,
So.
all the way up to 10. You should write them out. That would be
Mhm.
preferred for your test. Is
Yeah.
this test in person on paper?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me make another setup here. Let me call it C. Let's say C is 8 and 9.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's this idea of disjoint, and disjoint means they're disconnected. So like C has 8 and 9. There's no overlap between it and, say, A or B. Let me use B
Yes.
because I can see that 1, 3, and 5. They're completely separate. In terms of like circles, they don't touch.
Mhm.
That's, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw something here about, like, with like pies and square roots. Do you know if they're emphasizing like whole numbers, integers, natural numbers, rationals, irrationals, anything like that?
Yeah, we went over that, but I mean, I've looked at that so many times. I'm very familiar.
Great.
So we don't need to focus on that.
Okay, got it. So just kind of pacing myself here with what we're gonna do. We should do one more Venn diagram, I guess, if
Okay.
I can find it. Let me see if I can find a quick
Yeah.
3-circle Venn diagram. It's not gonna work. Okay, here's one that's got some stuff filled in, so I think this will be faster for us anyway, just to emphasize this set stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so here is they're telling you that it's C and D, and so, like, if I asked you for, and this is very different, it's the number of elements that are in C and D. Have you seen that notation?
Yes.
Okay, what would that be? C and D.
5 and 9.
So you'd add those up. 5. Well, actually, I guess it's just, so the answer is 2. There's 2 elements, but if I ask for the intersection of C and D, it's 5, 9.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that it's kind of a weird distinction, but you have to make sure you're giving them what they want. How about C or D? Number of elements in C or D, or I'll take C or D as a set.
Okay. Well, the number of elements that are in C or D is 5.
Agreed. So now you just got
Okay.
to write the 5.
Yeah. 1, 4, 5, 6, 9.
The order doesn't matter, but it's nice for grading when they're in order.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Sometimes it's not even your professor instructor may not grade them. Sometimes they send them off to a teaching assistant graduate student. So, you know, they're a college student too. They may not be motivated to grade these things. What does D? This means complement, but I'll put a C there. What is D complement in this problem?
Um, okay, 1, 4, 7, and 11.
Yep. Good. Okay. Not too difficult. All right, let's move on to week 3. Maybe there's some more stuff here. Okay,
Yeah.
conversions. Very good, conversions.
Yeah.
Did your teacher tell you uh, whether they're going to give you the conversion factor, if you have to know them, which ones you have to know?
Yes. She sent us an email. I think we have to know the basic ones, like 1 foot equals, it's just basic stuff like that, but she's gonna give us the harder ones like euros to dollars,
Okay.
meters, centimeters. Yeah.
All right, so let's just go through a few of these that are here. 1 foot is 12 inches. Looks like you need to know that 3 feet is 1 yard. 5,280 feet are in 1 mile, something like that. And then that's length. So then for time, I think you know all these, but we'll just go through the obvious. So 1 minute, 60 seconds. There's in a day we've got 20. These are just things that 24 hours in 1 day, 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay, so it looks like you got to know some time ones. Now we got weight. Weight's kind of the weird one. Usually they go like pounds to kilograms, but I'm not seeing that on this. I see like 2,000 pounds is 1 ton.
Mhm.
And then there's 16 ounces in a pound. But what I'm not seeing is like the between metric, metric to US also.
Oh yeah, those are gonna be on there. We're not
Okay.
expected to know those.
Okay. This next example, they're really emphasizing rates, which are something per something. So like
Mhm.
meters per second, feet
Yeah.
cubed per, hour. They even go to density, grams per centimeter cubed. And not sure. Now the next one I see here is so within, and you saw this in chemistry and maybe physics, is the conversion from like how many meters are in a kilometer. There's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. How many
Mhm.
centimeters are in a meter? Well, there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So there's this notation KHD. And that's not right. I'm missing some here. Sorry. So the base unit is right here. And
Mhm.
then you've got these other letters that are supposed to mean something to you, like deci, centi,
Oh,
milli. And then this is
okay.
deca, killa, hecta. But then there's other ones. There's mega, there's micro. I don't know how far you have to go on this list, but I'm seeing problems like that. And we
Mhm.
can go through that if you are in any review on it. But do you know if we're gonna be given this? Because that's obviously better case.
I'm pretty sure we'll be given that. If you just want to go and find one of the conversion example questions, like the ones you have to multiply a bunch, and I will look for this email.
Okay, we'll do.
Oh, okay. I found which ones you need. So I'm gonna put that like, I'm just gonna message. Okay.
All right, so you dropped something in the chat there.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's just
yeah, I see. You, yeah, that's all. I mean, these are the ones you have to know.
Mhm.
Okay,
Correct.
well, you'll know those.
Yeah.
There's nothing weird there.
There we go.
I mean, this is kind of an odd problem here because they want you to write the rate. It says, what is the mortality rate in units of death per 100,000 people?
Mhm.
So rate is always something per something. So it's units of death, basically how many people died per 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird because you just, obviously it's mortality, but you just like, well, but remember, they're giving you the numbers. Like, so don't it's either division or multiplication. They're telling you 250,000 people die, and they want to know, well, out of how many? Now, if you put in 305, I mean, that's wrong because that's 305 million, and it's really
Mhm.
in they really want the bottom number to be manipulated to 100,000 people per
Yeah.
100,000 people. So a couple ways to do that. Like, one is, and you should write this out, 305 million.
Mhm.
You're basically saying divide this by 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, because when numbers get really large, and then to cancel all the zeros that match up. Except I did one extra one. There we go, like that. So you do see these in other courses where the answer is in terms of like thousands of people or something else, because it's so large. They want you to do that. Now, the other thing I notice here is that your teacher rounds to like a whole number. Did they talk about significant figures or anything like that?
On the quizzes we've done so far in class, it'll always say next to the question, round to this many digits,
Great.
like to the 100th place, to the whole number. Yeah.
Okay, that's good, because that
To a
makes,
given.
yeah, I've suggested that to, and the following people are doing it. Because it's confusing, right? You're like, get a number, you're like, I don't, how many decimal places do you want? Like, just,
Yeah. And that has been hard on the homework because if you don't give the exact decimal place they want, it'll mark it wrong. You have to do it
yeah.
again.
So the good news is they're preparing you for what you're gonna see.
On like standardized.
Yeah, on these the tests. They're like getting you ready for that, because this is all that matters. This test is probably have 2 or 3 midterms. They're worth 20-30% each. Homework's 10%. They're
Yeah.
what matters. So okay. What is that in dollars per quart? So whenever you have a conversion problem, I like to write what you're starting with, and
Mhm.
then I also like to write what you're going to. That way, it's like when you travel somewhere, it's like, where am I starting? Where's my destination? And then
Mhm.
you work it out from there. Now, these are considered double conversion problems because you're converting the top and then the bottom. You saw these in chemistry.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm going to work with the top. So we know that €1, you always match the bottom unit with the top one,
Yeah.
is 1.3 US. Okay, so now we've got the top one. Great. Now you could multiply, but you can keep going. I would just keep going. Now we want to match the top one. Liters, I shouldn't have crossed that out yet. Liters, 0.946 liters in 1 quart. then we can cross that out. So you're obviously allowed to use a calculator on this. What kind of calculator are you allowed to use? Standard one?
Yeah, I have a graphing calculator.
Okay.
But yeah, you can use
So
anything.
I mean, this one, if there were numbers on the bottom, like this one's pretty easy, you just multiply the top. But let's just say you had a problem where it was like 1/2 times 3/4 times 6/5. I mean, if you have the fraction in your calculator, you can just make it look like this when you put it into the calculator.
Yeah.
If you haven't done this in a while, you multiply the tops, then you multiply the bottoms, make sure you have parentheses in the right places for
Mhm.
that. Make sure your final answer has units. That's probably what they're really emphasizing here. I mean, you're right. This is a
Yeah,
really basic math class. It's like,
it
it's
is.
almost like for are you taking like a Bachelor of Arts, or is this just an introductory math class? What's
I'm Bachelor of Science, but I'm in psych.
okay?
So
So they don't have a huge math requirement here for
nope.
this, but you will take a stats class. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Okay. Um, One other comment, I guess, on units, I didn't see it come up here, but like sometimes they tell you like 1 foot of fabric is $6, and they
Mhm.
say assume you have a 10 by 10 room that you want to cover with fabric,
Yeah.
and so you know that that's 100 feet squared, but your cost is in the wrong unit. Like it's 100 feet squared, and you got 1 foot and $6. So you end up having to square these to get the matching unit for the foot squared over here on the left. Is that something you've seen in class that they've done?
Yeah. And I've been kind of confused by those. It's like turn like the feet into yards cubed or something like that.
That's a good one. Yeah, that is a good one. We can let me come up with an example of that. So in this example, 100 feet squared, you only have feet here. So when you square it on the top and the bottom, you end up getting dollars squared, but they don't tend to worry about that. But you square both. It's 1 foot squared. So now they match, and now you have it. Okay, but we'll
Oh.
do we'll do another example here. So the more common example is you want to buy like tile for
Mhm.
your house, and you have a modest 2,000 foot squared house. Okay, but the tiles come in yards. That you can only buy them in 1 yard by 1 yard slabs, and that's I don't know, $30 or something for that.
Okay.
So like what you really want down here is dollars per foot,
Yeah.
but you don't have that. In fact, you've got $30 for a yard squared.
Mhm.
So you have to convert this number first.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, well, how many yards are in a foot?
3.
But we don't want yards, we want yards squared. So you end up having to square that.
Right. So it's
So
9.
yeah, so it's 9 yards squared is 1 foot squared.
Okay.
And then the yards cancel, but it's now $270 for a foot squared,
Oh, okay.
which I've probably not chosen good numbers, but the idea is that that is what you want to use in your calculation here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean it's kind of the same thing. You're gonna cancel it out, but you have to
That's
make
right.
it the same
Exactly.
rate in order to do that. So, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Um,
So that wasn't a great example, but it illustrates the idea. So let's go to week 4.
uh-huh.
Let's see what's there. Um,
It's mostly just percentages we're working with.
what is the name of this class? Math class, or like is there a number that goes
Yeah,
with it?
it's 1030 quantitative reasoning.
and it's Utah.
Yes.
Do you know if they have like a final exam available? I actually, I did find something, but this is unrelated to what we're doing here.
I mean, if there is anything, we've covered the first 3 chapters.
Okay, I'll send you this. I mean, this is completely you're not, I don't think this is your instructor. This is from 12 years ago, of course. But let me throw this in the chat and I'll pull up some questions from it.
Okay.
You know, when new people teach the class, they get autonomy to do whatever they want. So
Yeah.
this is just, here's another thing to look at. You really want to know if this teacher has taught it before and find their. So if
Mhm.
you're on like Course Hero, you might search for the class and the teacher and see if there's any old exams that have been posted
Yeah.
from this teacher. And sometimes you can't, sometimes you don't look, if the teachers moved universities, you can just go to their old university and look for them as well.
Yeah, she is just a grad student that's teaching. So she's
Okay.
not like she's not even on Rate My Professor. Like I can't find
Ah,
her.
darn.
I
You
think this is her first year teaching.
okay. All right. Well, here's a problem I found from a practice exam. The next page does have some of these premise argument stuff as well. So this is, and some conversions. So if you don't want to do this, we can do some of the other ones, conversions.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen a question just like this, so it's definitely right.
Yeah. You know, here, like, I don't know, here's another one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're doing stuff like that if we
Yeah.
could go for that.
Okay. Do you want us to do the set problem here first?
Um, yeah, can we do that? I do not understand how to do the female and male thing. That confuses me.
So this one's odd. They're saying there's 360 plus 83 males, and
Mhm.
then there's, wait a second. These senators are female. I don't think this can be answered the way this is written.
Yeah, it doesn't even.
Let me see if there's a solution to go with this. This one.
Yeah, some of these questions, it's like, oh, you just kind of have to figure out what makes the most sense, but you have to reason.
Well, they really need to tell you that these are only females. I don't know, like the okay, yeah, I guess you're right. So you're supposed to, there's male members of Congress, and so if they're not male, they must be female, is the
Well,
idea. So there's 17 female senators, and then there's 75 female other ones. You're not going to get a question like this with today's sort of, you get to be, you can, you know, male and female is not really accepted in, especially in academic settings right now,
mhm.
but you'll get something like it. So you're right. You're supposed to realize that the senators, there's 100 senators, but 83 of them are male. So the other ones must be female.
Okay.
Okay. So how many representatives are female? Well, they can't be senators and they can't be male. So that leaves this other number here. Now, if you get to a question like this and you're just totally stumped, go to one that you feel like makes sense. Like, how many representatives are male? Well, 83 males are senators, but 360 males are not senators, and we assume that there's only senators and representatives.
Mhm.
So that's why it's 360. And then how many members of US Congress are there? That's everything added together. 465 or 435. 435. No, 535. 535. Okay, let's try another one here. This one you actually have to put the numbers in. I think this will be more helpful. All right. At a recent music workshop, there were 30 singers, 14 songwriters, and 5 people who were neither singers nor songwriters. In total, 52 people attended the workshop. So the way this works is like, we'll fill in the numbers, but if you're not a singer, then that means you're, well, this one's different because there's also the case where they're not. I was hoping this one's the same. So I guess we'll just fill this in. You start with the middle, 5 who were, I'm sorry, 5 who were neither. Okay, so the 5 is down here. Normally they give you the both. That's kind of the easiest case. 30 singers. So that's A plus B is 30. 14 songwriters, B plus C is 14. And then we know that A plus B plus C is, well, it's 42 less the 5.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from here you can solve this using some approach. Maybe guess and check is probably fastest. I mean, you don't want to write a system of equations. I take that back. You can substitute in, sorry, this is so odd. You can substitute in B plus C equals 14 for right here. And that will get you A, which is good. You get A plus 14 equals 37. So A is 23. And then that gets you B, because 23 plus B is 30. So that gets you B is 7. And then the last one, B plus C is 14. That's 7. Then you should go back and check. Like it says there's 30 singers. 23 plus 7 is 30.
Yeah.
14 songwriters, 7 plus 7. 5 or neither. Do these add up to 42? They do.
Yeah. Okay.
And then from here, it's like, well, can you interpret the language correctly? How many attendees only sang? So they just sang, nothing else. What say you? Yeah, 23. Okay. How many singer-songwriters were there? So we're supposed to know that that's both. That's the and by the language.
So 7.
Yeah. I think that's the interpretation. How many attendees only wrote songs?
7.
Yeah. How many non-singer, non-songwriter were there?
5.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a question where they give you the conversions. Like you mentioned, they're going to give them to you. But this is a double conversion. That's why I thought it'd be worth doing. 90 kilometers per hour. And then we're going to miles per hour. So I take that back. It's just a single conversion. You need to know how many kilometers are in a mile. That's the ideal one, but we can't go there directly. So you have to recognize I don't have kilometers to miles. So what do? Well, I got to go to something else. So like meters is reasonable. They're in 1 kilometer, there's 1,000 meters. And then I got the meters to miles getting better. It's getting closer, but I can't go directly from meters to miles. So I've got to go to feet.
Yeah.
1 meter is 3.28 feet. And then finally I can go feet to miles because that's what I want. And you can see everything cancels. 1 mile is 5,280 feet, like that. All right. And then you just do that calculation and all right.
Yeah.
There's another one to look at. Do you have people in the class that you like, made friends with, form a study group, anything like that?
I have a couple friends in the class, and then we have a group project that's due at the end of the semester. So I have a group so far.
Okay. Sometimes it's good to get together. They often have the same questions you do, and just do problems for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And if they've got those study rooms at most universities, you just work them out. All right, so a typical glass of wine contains about 20 grams of alcohol. Consider a 110-pound woman with approximately 4 liters, 4,000 milliliters of blood who drinks 2 glasses of wine If all the alcohol were immediately absorbed into her bloodstream, what would her blood alcohol content be? Recall that blood alcohol content is measured in grams per 100 milliliters. That's really important. They're telling you that so that you don't have to guess. So you
Mhm.
have to go, well, am I given the grams?
Yeah, 20 grams.
20 grams. So we got 20 grams to start out with. And then they're telling you it's 4,000 milliliters. Like they're
Uh-huh.
giving you the number, but they don't want it in, they want it per 100. So you have to divide this number by 100 milliliters. Okay.
Okay.
And that gets you to the per 100 milliliters. Okay. It's a little odd, but that's not everything. You got, what's this part here mean?
Oh, um, 2. So you have to multiply the 20 by
That's
2.
right. That's right. 40 grams. And I don't know if this is true. But be careful out there. Say that. Okay, so I keep doing that. So it's 40 milliliters on the bottom. Like that, but it's not milliliters. It's really like, it's really a weird thing to write, but it's like 4,100 milliliters
Yeah.
is what it is. So it's 1 gram per 100 milliliters
Mhm.
or something like that. Did you have any percent problems like sale price, discount price, anything like that?
Yeah, we did those, but I'm pretty good at those. Like I just remember them.
Okay.
It's simple. It's
Yeah,
cross multiplying. The only thing I haven't really done is the absolute change in the reference value, but I have the formulas for it.
okay.
And I mean, if I like have the formulas, I can figure out what to do.
Very good. Let's do one real quick here to close out.
Uh-huh.
When is your test again? Is it tomorrow?
It's on Wednesday.
On Wednesday? Oh, you got plenty of time. You
Yeah.
probably even have another class between now and then.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Okay.
So,
I like have a question. If you, oh
yes.
no, you got it.
So the absolute error is the difference between the true and the approximation.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter the order because you're taking an absolute value.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you get it wrong, it's still 0.0004. The percent error is the true minus the approximate over the true.
Mhm.
And so because it's a percent, you do have to multiply by 100 when you're all done.
Yeah.
So it's what you just found, 0.0004 divided by 4 times 100. So this one could be done by hand, I guess, but it's 1%. Looks like
Yeah.
it's pretty small. Or actually, no,
Mhm.
that's not right. It's way smaller than that.
It's
Uh,
point.
yeah, 0.01% maybe.
Yeah.
So and you got, it's different. 1% versus 0.101% is very different. Let's just be careful with that. Um,
Yeah.
all right, so I'm gonna stop the recording here, and